So I was sitting with my family and we were having our evening snacks at that time. I vividly remember it was bhel puri. And I was almost sure that today I'm going to get my results, but I didn't tell my family because maybe it was positive, negative. I didn't want to disappoint them, or I didn't want to excite them, anything. So as soon as I saw the PDF, I was extremely happy to see a double-digit rank. That was the very first feeling that I got. That thank God it is a double-digit rank. But still, I didn't want to tell my parents because I wanted to make sure that it is actually my result only. I checked the PDF and I downloaded it thrice or 4 times and searched my name 3 or 4 times, and then only I told my parents. They were extremely happy. They are absolutely satisfied and happy with my performance. So we all were shouting, and immediately we ate chocolates and we went to the market, got ice cream and stuff.
Hi, in this video we bring to you excerpts from a conversation with Kriti, a UPSC CSC 2020 achiever with an AIR of 89. An MSc in zoology, Kriti was always passionate to become a civil servant. It was not just her dream but her mother's as well that she become a civil servant. A married woman, it took her the support of the family, and it also took her almost 4 attempts to clear it, but she always kept learning. She grew more and more confident with each attempt, and she became confident that she could crack UPSC with ease. Learn her strategies, learn her secrets to success, and learn all about her journey in this video.
I'm Kriti. I'm from Delhi. I BSc Honours Zoology from Hansraj College, University of Delhi. And thereafter, I did my MSc, my Masters in Zoology from University of Delhi, Department of Zoology. My optional was also zoology only, so it did not take a lot of efforts to go for another subject because I was already Masters in Zoology. Since 2017-18, I have been preparing for UPSC only. Side by side, I was also writing other exams. I was appearing for Army exam. I was appearing for MPPSC Assistant Professor exam. But full time, I was preparing for UPSC. No, I had already thought of preparing for civil services, and I had joined coaching institute also in 2015. But I did not want to leave any loose ends, so I took up MSc for backup, so that if I'm not able to clear or something, I can at least be eligible for assistant professor, which is MSc is the bare criteria that is required for that exam. But yes, I had. It was always my aim. It was my mother's dream, in fact. So it is not a sudden decision. It was always my dream to be a civil servant. The drive, first of all, was my own mother's dream. She herself is not a civil servant, and there is no civil servant in my family. But it was my mom's. She knew my capability, and she knew I could do it. So from that only, it carried forward to me also. I used to see many civil servants who were there, who were the change that I wanted to see in the society, and they were changing the society just like I wanted to. So I got inspiration, especially from Ashok Khemka sir and the other civil servants like Rajni ma'am also. Both of them are my idols. I would like to give credit to my parents who have kept me away from any societal pressure. I would thank my family and also my husband and my in-laws also. They supported me. Even I got married after mains. So my husband was extremely supportive, and he provided the conducive environment for the process to end. First, I'll give credit to entire family of mine. And second, I would like to say that it is one's own consistency, dedication, and the fire within that keeps you moving. Like if it is an external influence, if someone else says to you that you have to do this, maybe you will not last that long. But if it is from within inside, it'll last till the last breath. So my own self-confidence, my dedication and consistency, these were the keys. I was the golden batch of essay. I was the very first batch of essay in which all of us were innovating. Not just sir, we all were also innovating, and it was a very very pleasant experience because more than a class, it was a conversation, and more than teaching, it was mentoring. And not just sir, we also were equal and very active participants. So essay was a really easy journey for me, and it is also evident from my marks. I got 141 marks in essay, and the entire credit I give to Shabir sir. Yes, the very first thing that I liked about the classes was that when sir used to tell us how a thing has to be written. Like for example, he tells us the hook of an essay. So he gives ample opportunity to the students to come up with a very eye-catching hook. Like hook is the first sentence of a paragraph. So sir would give ample opportunity to us only so that we come up with a beautiful sentence that we can add in our essay. Now this has two advantages. Number one, our mind is absolutely active even during the class. It is not a passive class. And number two, there is a competition edge that sir gives us. Like if someone is writing better, it gives us a push that yes, even we can go better. The second thing that I would like to say is that I liked about the class is sir took up PYQs, like the previous year papers he took, and he asked us to divide each essay into different parts and write down the points that we could think of. For this, he gave exercise to us only, and we got 2 to 3 days to do it. So it was an assignment based class, not very heavy assignments, not very light assignments, but they were very appropriate for the moment. And I joined essay classes when my prelims was postponed, like in July, and my prelims was on 4th October. So it was a very pleasant break also for me, and it was the appropriate time also to join the class. The unique aspect about UPSC is that in all three stages, it has unique different demands. We cannot separate prelims preparation from mains preparation and even from the interview preparation. From the very first day, we must be preparing for all three stages together. Now I'll divide what I'm saying into three parts only, which is obvious. Like I'll start from prelims. So for prelims, again, I'll divide into two parts, static and current affairs. Starting with static. Now for prelims, I would like to say some pointers for the static part. Number one, we should restrict to some sources. Like the sources should be limited for the static part. Because if we go about reading hundreds of sources, we'll not be able to consolidate the knowledge. The second thing that I would like to say is, since our sources are limited, we cannot and we must not make any mistake in a static question. Like 2 or 3 silly mistakes can go, but not more than that. So for that, we need to revise our static portion at least 5 or 6 times for the exam. And even in the last week of the exam, when we are not writing any mocks, it is we must just simply open our books and randomly read whatever we wish to. So that will be another revision cycle. Now these revision cycles give us extreme confidence so that our knowledge base is strong enough. And these revisions that will help us not to be confused on the last day. Like in my 2018-19 attempt, I was extremely confused with very simple options also. Like a book written by Gandhiji is a very simple one, everyone must know. But since I hadn't revised Spectrum 5, 6, or 7 times, I couldn't recall what the answer is, and I ended up getting it wrong. It was not even a very good thing for me that NCERT question also I was attempting wrong just because of this simple revision thing. Now for the current affairs part, I would like to say that just like I told, limited sources for the static part, here we need to have diversified sources, because current affairs is so dynamic that we'll never be able to attempt a question through one source only. Now, what we end up doing is we take a monthly magazine from the market, and we start learning it and keep revising, which is a very good thing to do. But we should not restrict ourselves to that only. Now, I'll talk about myself, what I did, that I'll tell. The first thing, just like everyone, I followed a monthly magazine. But apart from that, I complemented it with my own newspaper notes. Like every day I used to make notes from the Hindu. Prelim specific notes were separate, and main specific notes I made separate. So for prelims notes, I'll tell you, the facts have to be picked up from every page. No page is unimportant. And when we say that we are taking a lot of time while reading the newspaper, this is not a correct thing, because you are not alone. For everyone, it takes 2.5 hours. So even if it takes that much time, we must have the pains to write down whatever we are reading, because the next day we'll not remember. Now, again comes the importance of revision. Just writing down the notes of newspaper won't do. Every 2 months, I used to revise the previous notes, not just the previous 2 months, even the previous 4 months, 5 months, whatever I had written, I used to revise all of that. For current affairs, now 2 things I've told, that one, monthly magazine can be followed, and your own notes, Hindu notes, will be good. Now, the third thing that can be done is that we take up a test series. We just take the test series that are photocopied from the market of an institute for which we are not following the monthly magazine. Like, for example, I'm following an XYZ Institute monthly magazine. So I take another PYQ Institute's test series so that the current affairs would be more diversified. Like, I'll get the source from that monthly magazine also, and from the test series, I'll get the current question. So this much would suffice. Apart from the strategy before the examination, one very important thing I would like to talk about is the day of the exam. Like, the day of the exam is very important, because the mental strength that is required for a prelims exam is more than anything else. Because 1 year, 2 year, 3 year preparation is going to be seen in a mere 2-hour time period. So some pointers I would like to give, which I followed in the last attempt and I failed to follow in my previous attempts. The very first thing is that we do not go with any baggage. Like, I prepared for this much time, that much time, or I am this, I am that, I'm stupid, or I'm super intelligent. All these things you have to leave outside the examination hall. You go inside without any baggage. The second thing is that you think that those 2 hours are mine. You should not judge yourself sitting there. Even if, like, for example, I'll give you an example. I got code C in 2020, and the initial 40 questions I couldn't attempt, which is very depressing, sitting in that atmosphere. And all those questions were environment and agriculture related. So all I said to myself was that, Kriti, chill. This time maybe we'll not go to Dholpur House, but next time. So this simple line, it just made my mind calm, and I could simply move on, because I did not have the option of going out. UPSC doesn't allow that. So at least now I had another 1 hour 45 minutes to solve the questions. So all I did in that time was solve. Now I'll tell you how solve. The third thing is that instead of relying only on our knowledge base, we must rely on our logic. So before entering the exam hall, just think that I would not know anything. I'll simply use my logic and solve the questions whatever I can. You should have initially when you practice prelims, you should have a magic number, the golden number in which you can attempt proper questions and you get marks more than 100. For me, it was 85 to 87. So that you have in mind. Apart from that, you simply don't think that I know this or I don't know. Go by logic. There were many questions in 2020, especially environment, that could be easily solved by logic. So more than relying on knowledge, you must rely on your logic and common sense that has evolved in the past 20-25 years. This was about prelims. I said it in such detail because prelims was always my weak point, and this was the first time I strategized a lot, and this was the first time I cleared my prelims. Now, if I talk about the mains is a very strategic aspect of the examination because it carries the maximum marks. So for mains, you have to prioritize what you have to read. The very first thing is, again, understanding what UPSC wants. Like, we cannot, like, there are 4 papers, GS 1, 2, 3, and 4. So whatever answer, the sort of answer that you write in GS 1, you cannot carry forward that very thing in GS 3 also. It has a different requirement. So in GS 1, for example, there is a history question. I'll prefer writing in paragraphs. I'll prefer minimum flowcharts. Whereas in GS 3, I would prefer writing more points. Even 10 points would do. I would prefer making more flowcharts. I would prefer making more graphs. So first of all, you must understand what the requirement of each paper is. For GS4, GS4 is the most scoring in my opinion. So for that also, you have to have a separate strategy altogether. Now, if I talk about 2-3 pointers, I'll talk about mains. The first thing is time management. So for everyone talks about time management. One thing I'll say is that one must keep his introductions and conclusions ready. Like, if there is some current event going on, we know that there will, if not a direct question, at least indirectly something would be asked. So it would be very convenient if we sit down, we prepare some introductions, any type, like data points or quotations or whatever you like definition. But if they are prepared, you will have, like, time would not be wasted when you go and sit in the examination hall thinking about introductions and conclusions. The second thing is easy visibility. Like when we talk about practicing answer writing, this is what we must innovate. For an examiner, you should make your answer easily visible, like by highlighting or by making bullet points or by nice flowcharts, so that the examiner knows that yes, the person has understood the question and is answering accordingly. The third thing is the subtopics that we write, like the subheadings that we write in an answer. That should be exactly like, you can simply take the words from the question itself, so that there is no ambiguity in whatever you're writing and whatever the question is. So for GS4, again, I would like to say that there are some exercises that a person should do. First is you should keep your definitions prepared again. And with the definitions in GS4, you should also prepare some live examples of yours and also some administrative side examples. Second thing, you must keep the quotations ready. For example, we get a quotation-based question in an ethics paper. So it would be really good if we start with the quotation itself. So these are some pointers for ethics paper also, and it should be absolute. And for case studies, again, I would like to say the visibility should be easy. If you are given a question on options, it would be great if you make a table saying that if I take this option, this would be the positive, the merits, and this would be the demerits. All of that would create a good impression. And for essay, I would like to say Shabbir sir's essay class is the one-stop solution. I would not like to say anything about it, because one who has joined the classes would get everything of the essay class. Now, again, if I talk about the third stage, which is not the interview, but it is called the personality test. Now, the personality test, the very important thing is you should not hide your personality. The first thing you must remember is that you have been raised well. You are a good person. You don't need to hide yourself. In fact, you should expose your personality, what you are. Second thing, you must remain natural. These things are the things that you have to keep in mind all through the preparation. And talking about the technical aspect, the only thing that you can control in the personality test is your DAF. So your detailed application form, each word and each keyword of your DAF should be on your tips. Like if my name is Kriti, so I had prepared about celebrities whose name was Kriti. I also prepared about people whom I share my birthday with. So all these are two examples that I'm giving. So everything from your DAF should be on your tips, because in my case, my personality test was absolutely based on DAF. There were hardly any current affairs questions that were asked to me. Maybe because my DAF was interesting, or maybe I could answer my initial DAF question. So that is in your hands, and you must do that. The very first thing is implementing whatever is there. Like when I went to an SDM office, the best thing that I liked about him, he told me that as soon as I came to office, I removed all the backlogs. For the 7-8 months, whatever backlogs were there, he had removed that. So so the strategy that I would like to follow, I'm absolutely naive about whatever is going to happen in future. But what I have thought for now is that as soon as I enter a district, it's not, I don't have anything in mind, no prejudices, nothing. All I would like to do is analyze what the situation in the district is, or what the situation in my area is, and then work accordingly. Yes, there are some sectors that are very close to my heart, and education is one of them, because I have been in touch with education. So education, I would like to work on if I do not have any immediate other engagements to go for. Very first thing, there is no first attempt, there is no last attempt. Attempt, like write the exam like it is your last attempt. So strategy varies. Whatever I have said is my experience. Like, you know, in India, there is the concept of hero worship. Please do not do that. I have just given my opinions. I have given my framework for the exam. But this is not the ultimate solution. This is what worked for me. So I am giving an idea for a strategy. A person can strategize himself. But yes, one thing that I would like to, I forgot to mention the revision cycles. There is psychologically also, it has been found through a study that when we read something, the things go in our subconscious naturally. Like if you read something one day, you revise it the second day, then you revise it on the 7th day, and then the 30th day. It is highly improbable that you will forget it. So this one thing that I would like to say, even if it's your first attempt or your last attempt, this revision cycle, please keep in mind. And never ever lose self-confidence. No matter whoever outside has confidence on you or not, you must not lose any confidence in your capability. Because a human, if one human can do it, a second one can also. And yes, all the best to everyone for this year also and the next year. It was the very first batch of ours, and this application was also launched for the first time only at that time. So I would like it was a very unique concept because it was paperless one. Number two, it was a one-stop solution in the lockdown period. That was the lockdown period. We could not move out, and it was a very comprehensive sort of an evaluation. Like every point was like we had an essay also that was evaluated, and also one other assignment that was evaluated. So it was marks based also, which I liked a lot. And second thing, the feedback was very comprehensive. Not just a concluding feedback which was given, rather feedback was given on every paragraph, or wherever there was a trouble that was found, that was given. Apart from feedback, there were suggestions also, personalized suggestions that were given to the students also, and then another model essay or the model assignment that was given. So this was a very unique concept that personalized feedback is also given, personalized suggestions are also given, and a model answer is also. But I would like to say that always follow the Madhya Marg. Don't be an extremist. If you are studying, don't go crazy studying. And if you are having fun, don't go crazy having fun. Be like Buddha. Always follow the Madhya Marg.